Hi, I'm Jennifer Quick, and this is Soul Clarity Coaching. So in this video, I'm going to talk about vibes. There's a lot of talk out there about vibes. It's kind of the cool thing. What vibe are you doing? Don't mess with my vibe, right? Well, have you ever thought about what that actually is? Some of us have. We kind of all know. Its general reference is referring to the vibration that we are holding in our bodies and in our life, and the resonance that we are giving off. We all kind of know that. But have we really stopped to know how to check in with our vibes, which is what I want to talk about today. I recently had an experience that really brought all this to the forefront. So I'm just going to explain a little bit of what I've been going through. The last as many of you know, I went through a big transition in my business back in December. The spa I was working at, the location, closed, and we kind of all dispersed from there. The brick and mortar part did. The rest of it, we're all still working, but the actual storefront is no longer. And so it shifted me into how am I going to redesign my business next? And that's sort of where I've been throughout January, February, and March. And many of you have heard me refer to this particular year as the year of miracles. And I was very aware of that. So I took January and I kind of just felt around my resonance and was like, what do I want? And so I started putting feelings out as to what I wanted. That kind of started coming together in February. And then the vision of what I had was not aligning quite right. So what it came down to is majority of what I do is online through Zoom and interviews and things like this. But I was still holding on to the desire for this brick and mortar, and I don't really know where that was coming from, but I felt like I wanted some sort of service where I was talking to people one-to-one. And I thought the only way I could get this was through doing something in the physical world. And so I was feeling into, and I decided I wanted to put on a couple of events. And when I decided to do this, I was really thinking that the location I wanted was in an area that would align with where I had been and what's a lot of where my contacts and everything and networking had really been active. It was quite accessible to that. Well, the locations I had in mind did not come about the way I wanted them to. And so I ended up booking into another location. It's a beautiful place. I love it. And it had everything I needed. And so I thought, okay, I'll try this. But it wasn't in the right location. It didn't quite have the right vibes. Not the quite right resonance, but I could make it work. So I went with it. And I went in it, and anyhow, I carried on with what I was doing. And then as the vision came together for me as to what exactly I want to create my life to look like, I really came to realize that and feel the discomfort that I was struggling through things that weren't aligned with that vision. So particularly these events really just became, I was just doing it for fun. I was just doing it for the act of doing it. It was something I wanted in my life, so I'll do it. And it really wasn't something that was aligned to the big vision of how I wanted to shape my life. It was kind of a funny fit. It's something I enjoyed that I had done in the past, but it wasn't quite resonating. All right. So as time went on through February, things became more and more uncomfortable. And even the places that I went, people that I was talking to in my physical world weren't aligned. And I noticed that the movement towards the vision that I wanted to create was actually moving away from me. And I felt this separation. It's like, well, what is happening? Why is everything kind of falling apart? And then, of course, I dialed in and I did some clearing work on myself. And I noticed that my body, the first thing I always notice is that my heart resonance wasn't coming into alignment. So I do heart math, which is the brain and heart coherence exercises. And I always foundation in that, and I work through that. And that was off. I could feel that was off. And I'm like, okay, something's not right. I could feel the resonance was wrong. The vibe was wrong, right? So then I started digging into it further, and I started working to clear that. And as I cleared it, I started that a resonance came in. My communication with my guides and with the higher beings that I work with on the other, in higher energies, they started actually coming into communication, because I noticed that their communication was not as accurate anymore. It was more distant. It was harder for me to reach into. And it's because my resonance was moving away from it instead of towards it. And so as I started getting back into line, that started coming back into my life. I started, so then I really, it got very uncomfortable, and I felt really stressed. I felt really overwhelmed. I felt a lot of anxiety and tension and just a moodiness. And I was like, what is going on with me? And at first I chalked it up to hormones, right? We always say hormones, but I'm like, it's not hormones. There's something more to this, because hormones don't throw my entire being out of alignment. Like I was eating weird. My exercise wasn't in my life. My activities, my enjoyment for life, it was all diminishing. And I'm like, what is going on? And then I had my breakthrough moment, and I went, oh, I'm split between two places, and my daily activities are resonating more in an energy field that I don't want to be in anymore. Right? I want to be towards my vision. But the things I had been doing were actually pulling me into an old resonance that I was done with. And so I went, okay. And so I released that. I went through and I did a bunch of things, and I'm going to talk about them in this video as to what exactly I did. But in general, I went through and I adjusted my social life. I've adjusted the events that I do, that I go to, as well as what I host. I adjusted where I was putting my energy. And wow, like as soon as I made the decision to do it, I started to feel better. And then as soon as I started taking the little steps of action, and the more action I took, the better I feel. Because I'm moving back in resonance, in the vibration of the vision that I want to move towards. So that's what this video is about. That was my little story that brought this wisdom back to the surface for me. And now I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about that. So the importance of being in resonance with our vibe. As you can see, if we're not in resonance with, if the vibration that we are holding is not aligned to what we want our lives to look like, the experiences we want to be having, we will become more and more and more uncomfortable in our lives. So what are some of the symptoms? We have anxiety, overwhelm, a feeling of chaos, a feeling of tension, being overtired, cloudy thinking, can't think straight, scatterbrained, frustration. We can have upset stomach. We get food cravings, or we can have food aversions. We can have, we feel withdrawn. We just want to stay home. We don't want to be bothered with anything. We lose that zest for investing in our own lives. And we just plain and simply become moody. And the interesting thing is we all experience these, and we kind of, really we actually know what's going on. We know we're not in resonance with what we want in our lives. And that's why we're feeling this way. But the old world, that third dimensional world that we've all been a part of and most of us have grown up in, that 3D world, the old way of doing things, gaslights us. Literally, it gaslights us. It's, oh, no. You're just being silly. It's not about your resonance or the vibe. Oh, the hippie. Oh, I don't like your vibe. Oh, yeah, you and your vibes, right? We get this attitude thing going about it. And they discount it, that third dimensional side of us, and our ego side that wants to keep us in that third dimension. It gaslights what we know is true. We know that we're out of alignment. And so we start making excuses and like, oh, I'm just, I've just been doing too much. It's the season. It's the hormones. That's always the first one that gaslights me. It's the hormones, or, I'm just not thinking right, or I'm just lazy. I don't have an ability to stick to anything. I'm inconsistent. All the flaws of who I am. Right? I'm flaky. I'm not grounded enough. I just am not disciplined in my life. That's a big one that comes through. And those are all gaslighting and telling us that what we are feeling, which is the wrong vibe, and we're justifying saying, no, you're just being silly. And yet we actually know, we all know we're made of energy. We all know what it feels like to feel good and when it feels wrong. Okay, so stop gaslighting yourself. All right. So if you are feeling at all, or questioning the vibes that you're in, and you just want to check in and go, okay, or if you're feeling any of that anxiety, overwhelm, stress, that type of thing, something's not right. Here's a few steps that you can do to check in with your vibe. All right. I'm just going to move this down a little bit so I can read it. So the first thing that I'm going to suggest is that you go through your social media. Social media is such a big part of our lives, and it has such a huge influence, because when we go on social media, when we turn on a screen, it has a way of, it provides dopamine and serotonin and all these things that are addiction fuels, and it really captures us and starts to shape us. So what your social media is reflecting back to you is really, really important, because it is giving a high influence as to how you're thinking and how you're resonating. So really look at your social media. Of course, you can start by just like what articles are coming up. What are the suggestions for you? And is that in alignment with how you want to be feeling? It's probably aligned with how you currently are feeling, but is it how you want to be feeling? Okay. So then if it's not, then go out and find influencers or stories or groups or whatever media does align with how you want the world to be, how you want your world to be, okay, what the vibe you want. So go and look for those alignments and change your feed. The second thing is look at your social media. And as you go through your feeds on social media, do you notice that are there certain people or businesses that pop up in your feed and make you go, just that, even that slight little, let's flick past that. I don't want that. Oh yeah, there they go again. And you have this push away from it. That's a really good sign that that person, whatever's coming out of them, their resonance, their vibration is clashing with yours at this time. So clean it up. Go through your social media feed and clean it up. There's a number of things you can do. You can unfollow, you can unfriend. You can also put people on a sleep for a while so that you're not seeing them in your feed anymore. Take a month break. I quite often, I shouldn't say this in a video publicly, but hey, it's a great tip for family when you just can't deal with it. People who are close to you, you don't want them out of your life. You just don't want to be as involved as the social media is dragging you. You don't want to see it. So put them on sleep for a few weeks. There's nothing wrong with that. And like I said, shift and start noticing what you like. Don't hit the like button to something you don't like. Hit the like something to the things that you want to see in your feed. Because you inevitably are in control, and that's how you control it. All right, so be a little aware of that. Look into your social media. It has a huge effect on us. So next, ask yourself, are you participating in groups either online or in person that you don't look forward to, that you dread going to, that it's just, I'm not in the mood for this. This isn't sitting with me right now. Okay. Oh, I'm going to go because I said I would go. That's what happened to me. I went because I said I was going to go, and I did not want to go. And I shouldn't have gone. So ask yourself, to look and really vibe check, are you in line with what the groups and the events and things that you are going to? Do you look forward to them? Are you excited to go to them? Okay, because if you're actually looking forward to it, so if you put in a day working on the yard and you're really physically tired and exhausted and you're lying on the couch and you're like, oh, I got to go out tonight, I did that event. If it's something that you are looking forward to, you will find the energy to get off the couch, to go have your shower, clean yourself up, and drag your butt to it. And when you get there, you will enjoy it. You might not be at the life of the party person, but you're still going to enjoy it, right? But if you're lying there and it's like, oh, no, you're not, that energy to get up and get ready for it is not coming to you, it's because you are not in alignment with it. It's not the right thing. You just shouldn't be going to it. Let it go. It's okay not to show up. It's okay. Preferably stand in integrity and phone the host and say, I just can't make it. Or, notify whoever's putting on the event and cancel it, give away your tickets, whatever it is, okay? Put the end to it. Make the decision and be clear about it. But sit with your resonance. If there's a bit of excitement, you'll find the energy to get up and get to it. All right? So look at whether it's lighting you up or not. So what is another one? So that's groups, online events, and things like that. So are there tasks? Here's another one. Are there tasks, events, or commitments you are struggling to complete before you move forward in life? So this is one of the things that happens to me. I have this feeling, I got to carry, I said I was going to do this. I said I was going to do this for so long. And even though it's really not to getting the feedback, it's really not, I'm not feeling good about it. It's really not producing much in the way of contribution to a better world. I said I would do it, so I'm going to stand through it. There's a time and place for that. And sometimes the best thing to do is let it go. Okay? So, and sometimes I've done this with my business, and I'll talk more about business in a minute, but services that I offer. I keep offering them because they're part of my wheelhouse. I do enjoy them. I do value them. But really, I don't feel like doing them anymore. Not as part of my business. Right? But I feel like I've offered them for so long that I should. But they actually aren't in resonance anymore with the vision that I want. And so I need to let them go. And there's events and things like that I do that I get caught up sometimes because I've always done them, or because, it's tradition, or people expect me to. And really, I've been there, done that. I'm over with it, and I need to move on, and I need to let them go. And it's okay to let things go. All right. So if you are struggling to complete it and you feel like it's this anchor that's holding you back from moving forward in your life, consider letting it go. Ask yourself, what would happen if you just let it go? If you just didn't do it, what would happen? Okay. 99.9% of the time, probably 99.9999% of the time, nothing really will happen. Life will go on. Everybody will be okay. Nobody will be mad at you. It won't be a big deal. It's just done. Right? And 99.9999% of the time that when you do that, it frees up your energy. You feel better, and there's a forward movement in your life. All right? So don't be afraid to let things go. Phone calls and texts that you are getting. If your phone rings and you groan and you're like, oh, there's a problem, especially if you pick it up and you see who it is and you're like, I don't want to talk to them. Okay? Two things. It could be the person is not in alignment with you, or it could be the invasion is not in alignment with you. And so there's two ways of handling it. One, if it's a person that you just really don't want to, then you have to consider whether you're going to block them or whether, how you're going to handle that. And there's a number of ways of doing that. But if it's more often than not, it's the fact that it's the invasion. There is nothing wrong, even in business, career, personal, anything. You don't have to answer that call when they call. You have voicemail, they have text, you have lots of ways that they can get a message to you that doesn't involve you answering that phone. And often, just because somebody texts you, doesn't mean you have to respond right away. Okay. And this is something that if you look at people who are successful in their lives and their business and have active lives, they don't jump on every single time. They have time frames. It might not seem like it to you, but they do. So if they have their own business, you will notice that they have times in the day that they will check into their voicemails and their text messages and their emails, and they'll answer them. Usually it's first thing in the morning, some just after lunch, and at the end of the day. That's generally when they do it. If it's on the personal side of it, when someone goes to work and they're in their work shift, they don't answer their phone, right? Because they're working. They fall into that natural management. So you may be out with them and you see like they're always on their phone, which they're probably on it too much, but there is even in their lives a little bit of management to it because of their job forces that management. If you're not working for somebody in a position that forces that management, well, then you need to put that management in. And there's nothing wrong with answering the text later. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with simply taking a few days off. Okay? I try to at least once a week, I don't answer my phone. I don't carry it with me. I actually leave the house without my phone. I try and do that for a period of time every day. And I try and once a week have an entire day that I have nothing to do with my phone. All right? Because it's not where I want to spend my life. Right? So you manage your phones and texts. If you're groaning and resisting your phone, manage it because it can overtake your life. And you can also put people on permanent ignore. If they really are harassment, then, recommend they go somewhere else and put them on permanent ignore. The next one I've got here is that, is there a friend or a friend group that just feels off? All right. Where it's been not feeling comfortable. Step back and determine if there has been a shift in the group where you have shifted maybe and it just doesn't align to you. Or is there somebody in the group, is there one person or multiple people in the group that are going through a challenge in their lives? And that is overtaking them. And so when they are in the group, they put this funny vibe out that is hitting you because now the group dynamic is not the way it's always been. If that is the case, you can step back and you go, okay, what is my best way of managing this? How can I be the supportive friend for this particular person? Is this somebody who's kind of on the outer edge of the group and you've never really connected very well other than in the group activities? Well, then it's probably not your place to really step in. Right? But if this is somebody that the two of you usually bond and joke and have a great time in the group together, maybe there's a side, maybe you need to send a message on the side that says, hey, is everything okay in life? You seem like you seem like you're a little bit off. Are you struggling with something? Hey, you want to grab a coffee? Can I be a friend to you? Right? And if none of that and however you want to handle it, but when you're in the group and you're feeling that, but you're feeling that you still want to be part of the group because you feel like there's a funny vibe because somebody's going through some challenge, step into the space of just being in compassionate space, being there, sending love, support, being just a participant. All right. That's how you handle it. But sometimes the dynamic of the group has just plain and simply shifted and is no longer aligned to you. And it's time for you to step away. All right, this was a big one for me in my life. I really had to step away from, and I've had to do this actually multiple times. But stepping away from a group can be a really important thing to do. Because when you don't step away from a group that is no longer aligning to you, and the resonance between the two are just getting worse and worse and more and more out of sync with each other, that is when drama starts forming and it can come at you and can be quite hurtful because energetically you either pay attention to the energetics or they'll smack you in the head. That's kind of how it works because it'll build up and oh my gosh, there'll be a trauma of some kind. So you kind of got to ask, is this, maybe you're not in the right vibration with this group anymore. Maybe you have changed, or maybe there's something about the group that has changed, but it's just not right. And fair enough. Everybody's growing and changing. And you know what? If you leave on a good note, if you just like, hey, my life's kind of in a different direction right now. I'm not going to be around for a while. And you put that space between it. Maybe that's all you have to say. Or maybe you just really have to say, I need to step down from this. I step away from this. Depending on how much involvement you are and how much you'll be missed and startled and how you handle it. But the point is that you remove yourself from it. You'll feel better. And there's a possibility in the future that it might come back together and it might align and old friends get back together and it's like you never missed each other, right? You didn't miss anything. So pay attention to that ebb and flow that can happen. The more spiritually evolved you, the more conscious of your energy that you become, the more important it is to ride that ebb and flow of the energies in your life, the vibrations in your life. All right. Okay, so there's another part I wanted to step into. I wanted to step and just finish up here by talking about careers and business. As an energetic being, coming into a greater awareness, the ascension, the evolution that we're going through, your vibration and consciousness is raising and you are more aware of things. You cannot look at your career the same way you used to. So as your consciousness expands, you have to step into more sovereignty, which means you have to take more responsibility for the actions of your life. And when this comes to your job, if you were just working a job and you're punching the clock and you don't really give a crap about the business, I don't like the job, I'm not invested, blah. You're in the wrong spot. It ain't going to go well. It's not going to be an abundance of flow. It's not going to create a happy vibe for you. It's just not. It's just feeding into low vibrational energy. So you have to, even if you're working at a local fast food, the local convenience store, or something else that's considered an entry-level job, even that isn't, considered a career path, doesn't matter. Even if you're doing that job, if you are simply punching the clock and taking your money and it's what your boss owes you for putting in your hours, you're in a low vibration and it ain't working so well anymore. It's keeping you in that third dimensional old way of doing things. You have to realize that you're investing in this business. Okay? If that business isn't earning money, neither are you. Because if it goes out of business, you don't have a job anymore. You're invested in that business when you work for a business. And you need to take responsibility for how you are showing up in that business. And if you are showing up in a low vibration, a disregard, just give me my money, I'll do what I got to do, and give me my money, and I'm out the door. The residents within the business is going to feel it, and that business is not going to thrive. Okay? So go in and enjoy what you're doing. Look at your job and take responsibility for the vibration that you're showing up in it. Because even if it's a low-end job, that's something that you consider that's, not a career or whatever, it still has value. The people that are coming into the store, like the clients, the customers, the co-workers, the owners, the managers, all of that, the actual service that the business is doing for the community has value. So go in and appreciate and contribute vibration at those levels. And if it is out of alignment, if that's something you can't find your alignment to it, then you need to start looking around for something else that does align to you. Because you need to take responsibility for the vibration that you're doing, even in your work. Okay? Most people, as they raise up in vibration, and you can see this happening where there's a lot of entrepreneurship right now, is because as your consciousness expands and as you step into a position of wanting to be responsible more for the resonance, the vibration that you're holding, you need to have more control over your life. Well, that happens through responsibility, which happens through usually entrepreneurship. That's why there's so many businesses starting up right now. So many people stepping into it. All right. And it's not easy. That in the end, you're taking responsibility for your energy. And that is a newer thing, especially when you first step into it. So you need to pay attention to what your resonance is with it. And it's even more important if you want your career to grow, if you want your business to grow, if you want to create that vision of your life that you've been dreaming about, you need to really look at the vibration that you're putting out and how much responsibility you're taking for that vibration. So career, business, same thing. All right, you need to start looking at your career, whether you're punching a clock or you own the business. It doesn't matter. You still have to step into the vibration of your responsibility for what you're contributing to it. All right, how much ownership you have over it. So take a look at what you're doing, how you're showing up. All right, and if you cannot invest in this business because it's just so out of line with you, then start looking elsewhere. Now, another step is to take a note of what is stressing you, what is frustrating you, or what you are dreading doing, and then also take a note, like make a list of it, and then also take a note of what you like doing. What feels good? What do you look forward to? What do you enjoy? What makes your day go faster? Okay, take note of that and then look for opportunities to step into that happy, positive vibe more and more and more. Okay, so this is how you change your Reddit. So even if you're working at the local dollar store and you're just punching the clock because they're giving you your money and that's what you need to put food on your table or whatever, or pay for your schooling or whatever you're doing, look for ways that you can, ask for the shifts during the busy hours. If you love working on the cash and having the lineup of people, it makes your day go faster and it keeps you up, spirits up, ask for that shift. If working with the customers overwhelms you and it's not your thing, but you really enjoy stocking the shelves and being out cleaning the store, then ask to be put into those positions. Okay. And as a business owner, when someone comes to you and asks for that, tap in and ask, realize that they're asking to be more aligned. And the more aligned your employees are with your business and the tasks that they are doing for you, the better off your business will be. Okay, so look for that. And then also, if you hit the maximum of what you can get out of that position you're holding, well, now look for more opportunities where you can step into what makes you feel good, what lights you up. Right? What lifts you up. At the end of the day, you might be tired, but you shouldn't be drained. There's a difference. You shouldn't feel like your soul is being sucked out of your body. Okay? It should be that your soul is fulfilled and now you're just tired because you've given so much, right? And it's time to replenish, but it was a satisfaction. You should be getting satisfaction from whatever. And you can get this at any job, right? You don't need to be the CEO of a big corporation to have satisfaction with your job. The satisfaction comes from what you put into it. Are you standing in the positive vibration of where you are? All right. So, and then you can also look around for other businesses, other career opportunities that maybe give you more opportunity to stand in the positives of what you like and expand your skills in those areas. Right? That's moving in a positive vision of your life. If it is your business, ask if these issues are aligned to the next level or goal that you're attaining. Are you holding on to something that is done or should be farmed out or released altogether? So that's when we look at, and then, is there a service you offer that you really don't feel like doing anymore? And when someone books it, you're like, yeah, okay, I can do that. But it's not something that lights you up, not exciting you anymore. Okay, maybe it's time to let that service go. Or it's time to hire somebody else to do that service for your clients. That's another way to go as well. Okay, because in business, here is the number one key to business that, in my opinion, is you do what you do best and you hire out the rest. Does not mean you disregard responsibility for it. So if you are not good at doing accounting, hire an accountant. But that doesn't mean you ignore the accountant. You still get the reports from the accountant. You still know the basics of what's going on in your business. You're just not adding up the pennies. You're not doing the physical work of it anymore, but you still are aware of it because it is your responsibility. And it's the responsibility of the accountant to bring you that information. Okay, so that's the trick of hiring out. So if you have a service that you no longer want to do, but maybe you can hire somebody to do that because your clients still want it. So that it allows you to free yourself to do other kind of growth in your business. So that's one of the things to look at. Or maybe it's just no longer in alignment with the vision that you want to create for your business, and it's time to let it go. It's time to change how you're doing business. Those are things you have to lean into and ask. And now those are easiest to ask when your vision is clear. The clearer vision you have of the goals that you're moving towards, the easier it is to tell what is in line with it and what is not in line with it. So if the vision is not clear, though, even a little, then look. So it's not even clear a little bit, because your vision does not have to be crystal clear. It'll come more into clarity as you move closer in resonance to it. All right, but it has to be clear enough that you have an idea of the direction to move your affairs in. Okay, so if it's not even a little bit of a directional intention for you, then look at what you identified in the previous step as to what you like and you don't like about the current situation. Start paying attention to what inspires and lights you up. Be open to how things that light you up could come into a bigger focus, creating the vision, and then let go of what doesn't align. Okay, so move into what lights you up and your vision will start to get clear. It's basically the short version of that. And then finally, if you have a clear-ish vision, then ask if each area, so if you have a vision of an idea of where you want to go, take a step back from your business and really look at it and ask if each area of the business or your career, your activities, your life, whatever, is in alignment with the vision that you want to create. All right. Now, the more energetic oriented you are, the more higher consciousness you are, the more your entire life falls into the same kind of things as I'm talking about with getting clear for your vision of your business. You can do the same thing for your life. So for me and my business that I've created, it is very integrated into my life. I don't have a separate vision from my personal life and my business life. I have a vision of how they flow together, because that's how I enjoy running my business, and because I take as much responsibility for my personal situation as I do my business situation. So at a certain point, and this is something if you're working in business, I can help you do, but at a certain point, once your business steps into actually being a business, meaning that it's got services and people are actually investing in this business by customers, it's making money, it is an entity of its own. And you are still a separate entity. There needs to be, you still have a personal life. You still have your own personal experience. And then you also are the caretaker of this other entity, which is your business. All right. And when they're too enmeshed, they can be draining. And there's a way of separating that. But you need to look at your life resonance as a holistic whole, because you're not just a career person. You have that's where we get that successful in career but lousy in relationships. We don't want that. We want a balance. We want to have happy relationships and a thriving business. And that all boils down to the vibe that you carry in all areas of your life. And so you can actually dial into each area of your life and what is in alignment, what is not. All right, where's there a vibration that you want to lift, and where's a vibration that's ready to let go? All right, so hopefully you enjoyed my little talk here about vision, about vibration. What's your vibe? I'd love to hear what your experiences with vibes are, and what resonates with you and what doesn't. And if I can be of any help, please reach out. Love to do an Akashic reading for you, for your business, for your life, everything. Love you all. Mwah. See you next time.